up guys, Stu here. So the next film that I managed to catch at the London Film Festival a couple of weeks back was a new film from Jason Reitman, The Frontrunner. Now Reitman is a name you might have heard before. He's done some writing, he's done a little bit of directing. This year he did a film called Tully, but he's probably most known for doing a little film called Juno. Don't know if you heard of that one. But this one is a biographic political drama. Ooh, interesting. Telling the story of US Senator Gary Hart, or should I say US Senator Gary Hart Breaker. Am I right? Because he had an affair and it crumbled all of his political aspirations. That's probably in bad taste, that joke, wasn't it? Anyway, he was the frontrunner, title of the film, cheeky, for the presidential race of the year I can't remember. It was a year with Bush, alright? It was him versus Bush, basically. Everyone was like, hey, this guy is going to be great. He's going to nail it. He's going to be the next president. And then he had a little bit of a scandal in that he had a bit of an affair, whilst he also had a wife. And then suddenly, hopes and dreams. See you later, mate. It was 1988. God bless you, Wikipedia. And on the whole, this one's a fairly kind of by-the-numbers political drama biopic. If you heard that synopsis, you could probably guess exactly how this film plays out, and on the whole it kind of does. And that might seem quite dull, but I gotta be honest, on the whole I quite enjoyed this one. We've got Hugh Jackman in the lead as Hart here, and Hugh Jackman, dude, I mean, you guys know how I feel about Hugh Jackman. He came out of Greatest Showman untarnished, so that kind of says all you need to know. An incredibly likeable actor, which I think works really well for this role, because Gary Hart was an incredibly likeable politician before this whole scandal came to light. And Jackman does do a great job. I was quite impressed with how restrained it all felt. It doesn't feel like a big in-your-face performance. It does just feel quite real and honest, and I think that's a really good way of depicting this. Plus, I'm not going to say no to a new Hugh Jackman performance. And I mean, at like 5 points in this film, characters in various different places will tell you how good-looking Hugh Jackman is, so there's that. But also rounding the cast out alongside him and people like J.K. Simmons, who does a really great job. Always a big fan of whatever J.K. does. And here he works really well as this kind of quick-witted, won't take no shit kind of character. I guess that's, well, every one of J.K.'s characters. But also Vera Farmiga's in the film, and I thought she was actually really great. I love Vera Farmiga. I would have liked to see a little bit more from her character in particular in this film, but I think what she is given here, she does good work with. The whole cast are doing good jobs. I don't really think there's anything outstanding or game-changing here, but they're all solid. And the film comes at this story with enough energy to keep it quite on its feet throughout the whole runtime. I mean, immediately from the beginning, you've got this kind of really quick, sharp screenplay in that typical kind of political drama way where people are like, you know, all sat around a table in the headquarters of some newspaper, and they're all just chiming in at each other, giving all these weird kind of one-liners, like tearing each other down, making quips here and there, and you just sat there going, you guys are having fun. I like this. You guys. That side of things, whilst I guess at this point it's kind of a little bit of a cliche and convention of the genre, I can't help but get sucked into, so I enjoyed it. But it also does raise various different interesting viewpoints and perspectives on some of the things that are happening through this film. The big thing it's really diving into, I guess, is this whole idea of what's public and private, and the two of those things coming together, and the way that we started to look at politicians in much more the same way that we'd look at sort of celebrities in Hollywood, I guess. And it raises interesting kind of dilemmas there and double standards, you know, what is morally right or wrong, I guess. But I do feel like it's one of those things that throws in a bunch of different ideas and themes in there, and it goes down different avenues at different points, but it never really firmly lands on anything. It's much happier to ask the questions rather than answer that, and that might be frustrating to some people. At certain points through the film, I did kind of wish it would just land somewhere, you know? And the result of that is that it can feel a little bit muddled at points. I mean, there's certain story aspects that it will go down that don't necessarily feel like they were worthwhile because they get dropped for other things later on in the film. For instance, a big part of the film is the woman that Gary Hart ended up having the affair with. She comes to light in the film and it starts to go down her story a little bit, and there's some interesting things dropped in there about, I guess, kind of feminism and the way gender takes a lead in the way people are looking at situations like this. But the film brings her up, and then there's this other female character that's on the Gary Hart side of things as well that ends up forming a relationship with her, and it was interesting to watch, but it doesn't really go anywhere. And there's a couple of threads throughout like that which I just don't really feel like amount to as much as the film needed it to. But I did find that it did enough on that kind of thought-provoking question side of things to keep me entertained throughout. I feel like it's kind of one of those films where you probably already got your mind made up on certain things like that, and this film might not necessarily do enough to convince you otherwise. At the end of the day, it didn't blow me away, it didn't do anything particularly amazing for me, but I did find it to be an enjoyable, solid political drama biopic. But what about you guys? Have you seen The Frontrunner? Did you catch it at the festival? Let me know what you thought about it down below, I'd love to know. And as usual, if you like this video and you do want to see me talk about more shit, please do consider clicking subscribe. It really helps me out, but also means that you won't miss any future reviews from this man in your sub box. So yeah, click the subscribe button on the bell if you fancy doing that. And if you haven't already, check out the StuTalks podcast. We'll be going into more deep thoughts on some of the films from the festival. The links for that are in the description down below. I'm off to go stare at pictures of Hugh Jackman and pretend that Greatest Showman never happened. But until next time, stay beautiful, mother truckers.